It's time to do some drawing. After all, this program is an illustrative program. Best place to start is basics, and we're going to start with some basic geometric shapes. And we're going to get to them by clicking this button and holding right here, and you will be greeted by some of the basic geometric shapes we're going to be using. Now, since we will use these tools over the course of the next couple of segments in this lesson, let's go ahead and tear this off. Click this little button right here, and that creates what's called a tool tear off, and we have access to all of them. Before we get started, I'm going to admit something that you already know. Drawing rectangles is a rather basic thing. However, even though drawing a rectangle is something I'm sure everybody on this planet that's ever used Illustrator has done, there are sometimes tips and tricks associated with these simple buttons that, if used properly, make them more valuable to you. So let's play around here. We pick up the rectangle tool and we draw by clicking and dragging a rectangle of any shape that we want. Rectangles are defined by 4 anchor points. That's all they have to make a rectangle. I think everybody knows if I draw and then hold down the Shift key, I will draw a perfect square. If I hold the Alt key down, that's the Option key on a Mac, I draw out from center. So I suppose if you wanted to put another box within the box we just drew, and you want it to be exactly in the center, and you don't want to use the align tools to do that, you want to do it in one step, you could come over here and locate that center point in the selected box. Put your cursor right on the middle of it, hold down the Alt key, and start dragging out. And then, of course, you could hold the Shift key if you wanted it to be a perfect square. So using the Alt key and the Shift key, which are basic, are ways that we can control the shape as we're drawing it. Don't forget, once you let go of the mouse, the shape has no magic left to it. It's just 4 corner points making a rectangle or a square, which gives us the ability, if we choose to do this, to modify it. So I can come over here now, maybe pick up my Direct Selection tool. That's the second one down on the top, Direct Selection tool. If I come over here to any one of these points, I could then select that point and move it. So I suppose if I'm not happy with a rectangle, I could make a trapezoid or just about any shape that I want. Again, we'll go into this later when we get to the pen tool. We could add points, take points away, do anything we want to. So in rectangle drawing, the first tool, pretty easy, but don't forget you got a couple of keys, the Shift key and the Alt key, that can help you out. There's another term I want to bring up now. I call it leaving something live. Now, when I'm using that term, for example, that means you still have your finger on the mouse and you're still drawing. The object is still live. Now, we're going to use that term in a minute to control some things. So remember, when I say leave it live, I mean don't let go of the mouse. Let's go to the rounded rectangle tool. Now, the only difference really is the simple fact that it draws rectangles with rounded or smooth points. So we come over here and we click and we drag and we draw a rectangle with rounded edges. Kind of nice. One other thing about these tools, and you may have even done this accidentally, if you come over and you just click, you don't drag, you just click and you have that tool selected. Let's start with the rectangle. These figures represent the last box that we drew, and if you want another one, you can click OK. But if you are looking for a box with a specific dimension, 25 by 25 pixels, whatever, you can obviously change these numbers and get exactly the size that you want. Now, the same is true with this one, but with one difference. Go ahead and just click on the screen. Rounded rectangle. You get the width and the height. You also get the corner radius. So let's do this. Let's draw another one. And now just click your mouse. So we just drew a box that has a width and a height of 196 by 69. The corner radius represents that curve. And a lot of people ask the question, what does that really mean though? What is 17.5? Define that to me. All corner radius boxes have an imaginary point right about here where the corner would be if it were there. The distance from here, this anchor point, to that imaginary point right there is 17.5 pixels. So if I want a larger or more smooth rounded edge, I would increase the number. If I want something that's not quite so rounded, I would decrease that number. So you go down to a 5, click OK, and as you can see, it's a little less rounded. Now, I like being able to do that, but here's a trick for you that might make this a little bit more valuable. While you're drawing one of these rounded rectangles, you notice that you don't like the corner angle. So maybe you stop, you come over here, you click, you change the number, and you do it again. Now, there are times when I know exactly the number to put in there, but I'll be honest with you, most of the time I'm a visual person. I really don't know the number, I just know what I want visually. Here's the trick. Begin the drawing process. You don't like that corner angle. Leave it live. Remember what that means? Don't let go of the mouse. With your other hand, reach over on the keyboard and press the up and down arrow keys. Watch what happens to that corner when I press the up arrow key. It begins getting more rounded. If I press the down arrow key, it begins getting less rounded. If I press the left arrow key, it goes all to corner point. If I press the right arrow key, maximum smooth. So left and right arrow keys are minimum and maximum, and up and down arrow keys control the point in increments. What I like about this is, like I said, I'm a visual person. Now here's another trick. I want to create another box. Maybe I want it somehow to be associated with the box I drew above. So I want to move it up there. Now I could let go of my mouse. And if I let go of my mouse, then I have control of the box. We know that. But I've got control now to do this. Press and hold down. Don't let go of the mouse. Leave it live. Press the space bar. In any drawing object in Adobe Illustrator, if you hold the space bar down, it will allow you to move it while you're drawing. If you let go of the space bar, you're now back into drawing mode. Space bar allows you, if you want to do this, to basically maneuver the object as you're drawing it. And you can maneuver it and put it anywhere you want. When you let go of the space bar, you're back into drawing mode. You finally let go of the mouse. You've just drawn and placed the object that you wanted using the space bar. So the up and down and left and right arrow keys are very useful when you're doing rounded rectangles, and the space bar for any object can help you move it while you're drawing it as long as you leave the object live.